Have you ever wondered how to make a pie crust as good as your grandma's? Well, look no further. Today, I am making an all butter pie crust that you can whip up in short order. Get ready to be transported back to Granny's kitchen. Let's go. Here's what you're going to need to make it. Now, first of all, Granny probably done this by hand or with a fork, but I'm going to utilize my mixer today. We're going to need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 sticks of cold butter. I'm going to get me a 1/2 cup ice water, 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, and we're going to have a buttered pie pan. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is chop my butter into small pieces. And once I get that done, I will pop it in the freezer so that it stays cold. Now next, I am going to butter my pie pan. I find that if I butter my pie pan or pie dish before I put my crust in it, the slices come out much better. Perfect. Okay, next I'm gonna measure out my 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and I like to take a whisk and just loosen that flour up so that it's not compacted. Doesn't take but a second. Now, I could not get my white lily flour, so we are using Pillsbury today. White lily's my favorite though. A little bit. All right, 2.5. Okay, now I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, just 1 pinch of salt. I'm going to put this down and let it come together a little. All right, let's grab that butter out of the freezer. It's cold. I'm sure our grannies used all sorts of fats in their bread making and pie crust making. But they say butter, when you compare it to vegetable oil or lard or shortening, makes a tender, flakier, better tasting crust. I want my butter now. All right, there's the last of my butter. I'm just going to turn this on and let it start coming together. I'm not going to lock it down yet. All right, that's starting to get like cornmeal-y, but the chunks of butter are still too large. So I'm going to let it go some more. Now I'm going to let this go a little longer. It's not ready yet. See, the butter is still in pretty big chunks. Now, if it was my granny in her kitchen doing it years ago, she would start out with these little chunks and she would just mush them. because she got them all incorporated to the flour by hand to where you kind of had like a cornmeal mixture in the end. But I'm going to let my KitchenAid do the work today. But this is what you would do. You would just mush it in the flour. See how it's starting to get a cornmeal texture? If I was to stand here and just keep mushing it, so you don't have to have a mixer to do this. There's people that do it in a food processor. You just have to watch it and stop it when it's at the consistency that you want. But you could just mush and mush. It's just another way to do it when you don't want to pull out the appliances. Just takes a little time. Okay, I think we're about there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is add 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, and I've got a 1/2 cup of ice water here. Just going to put that in, turn my mixer back on, and wait for it to come together. I think we're almost there. See how it's sticking? That's what we want. I think when I take it out now and put it on a floured surface, I can get it to come together. Okay, what I'm going to do now is dust my surface so I can get this out. Just my rolling pin. All right, let's see if we can get this to come together. If it's too warm, I'll just wrap it up. Because it's butter. The pros to using an all butter pie crust is it's so tender and flaky and it has a lot more flavorful. But the con is the butter melts quick as you're working. So sometimes you just have to re-chill it. What I want to do first, though, is just get it all together. Like so. And I only need one of these today. And not only can you use these for dessert pies, they can be made for savory dishes as well. Pot pies and such. See if I can get it divided. Like I say, I think I can get by with one today, although I'm using a large. I'll use this one, looks a tiny bit larger. I'm using a large pie plate. All right, I'm going to lay that one to the side. And then you just want to work it into the size that you need. I hope this one's enough to do that pie plate I got. I tell you what, I have been so bored today. We have got that, today is Tuesday the 16th. Happy birthday, Lynn. But that cold front's coming in tonight, and we're going to have some really cold weather. I think it's starting at lunch today. It's about 2:30 now, but starting at lunch, the temperature was going to start dropping. I think we were about 55 at lunch, but the temperature's going to start dropping, and I think we're going to get in the low 20s, possibly the high teens tonight. So we better make sure everything's covered and dripping. And my goodness, why is this splitting? Plants are inside. Let's see if I can repair that. Not enough. I may have to get some more dough. It's a big pie plate. You know, I've worked out in the public so many years. I am used to just grabbing frozen pie crust. And they're good. They're good. But sometimes you just want to make one from scratch. Oh, much better. Much better. I'll take this little bit over here. But I wonder. I can get it all. All right, let me see if I can get this crust all the way down in the bottom. Then I'm going to try to just roll this excess under. And now you could leave it just rustic like this. You could fold it over. I'm going to try and just flute it a little bit. Do you call that fluting? I don't know if you do or not. And I can tell this butter is getting warm. It's not wanting to stand up tall, but I'm trying to get this video done. But at any point, you can stick this in the freezer and get it re-chilled so you can work with it again. All right, there's a start. Let me stick it in the freezer. Isn't that pretty though? Look at those edges. I think they'll come together. It's starting to get warm, but if I'll re-chill it, I can tighten those edges up. Now that you've re-chilled your pie crust, you're ready to go. You're ready to fill it with your favorite pie filling, whether that's apple, pumpkin, or something else entirely. And like I said earlier, I like pot pies in mine. If you noticed, I only used half of this pie crust recipe. So the other half I put in the freezer. So if I was making a pot pie, I would roll it out. I wouldn't decorate the top, and I would roll it out and put it over the top so I'd have an upper and a lower, or a top and a bottom crust. But there you go. This is ready for the freezer, ready for your pie filling. You know, this would be a good idea to make some of these ahead of time, like buy some aluminum pie pans, make up pie crust ahead of time for the holidays. So go ahead and whip up this delicious pie crust. I'm sure it would make your granny proud. Oh, and by the way, did anybody count how many times I actually said now or mush? Oh boy. But anyway, happy baking, and I will talk to y'all later.